Good morning, warriors. It's Lisa Wolf here on this beautiful Monday. And today is Masterminds Monday. And Masterminds Monday, and of course, the theme this week is self-sabotage. Self-sabotage. And my biggest thing with, especially with the weight and deciding if what was good for me was my mindset. And I didn't really want to talk about this. Oh, there's things that I do not want to talk about in this season, but I have to for absolute healing. And the reason why I don't want to talk about it is because I'm used to feeling things at the moment and then just brushing it away and not talk about it again. And that is not good. That is not good. And that's what I learned over the years with like death and just hurtful things that happen in life, situations and events in life, and didn't explore my feelings about it. Or I felt a certain way, but I was so, I'm not a healer. So like, I would just like keep my feelings to myself and didn't express the sorrow and the heaviness in my heart, and all that stuff started building up. And then I found other releases to explore those feelings and hide those feelings, because I always felt there was a void in me. And there was. It was the feeling that I wasn't good enough and that I was only good for one thing, and that is not the truth. And the main thing is, what I want to talk to you about is you really have to unlearn things, everything. You have to unlearn everything that you have known. And with self-sabotage, it is very destructive, even if when you're not doing those behaviors. So I didn't like drugs because I didn't like what it did to my body, because I loved working out. I created idols. And my very first idol ever was porn and sex. Yes. And there's a long testimony story about that. But when I realized that was my issue and I tried to get help, I would heal a little bit because, that's why I chose to do the weight, because I was just like, well, if I'm not doing it, then I'll just substitute it with something like good instead of just having random hookups. And so during this time, I did go to church, but it was at the time what I needed for that foundation. And they had a class called Conquer, and they kind of advertised it on the down low, like at church service, but they had it on Saturday mornings, like really early. It was like 8:00 in the morning, and they had a men's class and they had a woman's class. And out of all those people in that church, only one man and one woman showed up. And it's not by coincidence. And so I decided to take it, and I was the only woman. And I was just like kind of heartbroken at the time, because I was just like, well, am I the only person that has this problem and ever? And I started feeling kind of like whatever. And I remember I think it was like the second or third class. And then who was teaching it? This beautiful woman of God, this Miss Linda Jackson. And I walked in and I was just like, oh my gosh. And at that time I was so green with the Lord. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to break free from this. And so every Saturday for weeks, I don't even know like how long it was. I can laugh about it now, because the more I think about it and the more I want to share with you, it sounds ridiculous. But I'm getting to the point. I had to unlearn my destructive behavior. And only I Only I could do it. And it doesn't mean that just that class alone fixed me. No. You know, I'm still, like I'm healed from it. And I'll tell you why. Because I know I'm healed from it. And I'm delivered from that. I have to open this door. So, I was taking the class. And there's a men's group, life group, that is in the same, on the Saturday mornings, and I didn't know. And there's this, I don't believe I'm telling this story. I remember I came in wrecked, because God was like purging me, and just like I was in that phase of unlearning. I mean, like when you're unlearning and you are awakened, you are a hot mess. I'm not gonna lie. You feel like you've been deceived all your life. Like you've been just like living a lie. And I can't remember if we're finishing the class or just starting it. This guy that I've been crushing on for a while. Ugh, this is so embarrassing. He came in and they needed chairs. And I never felt so embarrassed in my life. Because at that time, I kept everything on the down low about the weight and about my addiction and stuff. And because I was embarrassed. I was really embarrassed. And he came in with another gentleman to get chairs, and I was just like, oh Lord, forget that. Like, he won't want to be with someone like me, you know. Like, I still had those, and you know, those thoughts in my head. And I'm getting to the self-sabotage part. I always felt like, man, this dude, I'll never be enough, you know, because I'm a screw up. And there's something about this guy. He's different, which that it attracts me to him. And just certain things about him intimately that I saw. Like, I saw his heart and soul, and especially that day. And I'm so embarrassed. But the thing is that over the years, God has shown me how my addiction, to try to unlearn it and try to know what a healthy relationship is so difficult. And I can't do it. Everybody's like, I'm so proud of you and all this stuff. And I'm just like, man, you have no idea how many times I have failed. Like, physically, no, I haven't. I've been abstinent for 5 years. But in my mind, no. No. So mind, heart, and body all go together. Just because you're not doing it physically doesn't really mean that you've been abstinent or pure in your mind. Yeah. We'll just leave it like that. But if that situation didn't happen, that planted the seed. Planted the seed in that class. I unlearned everything, and all these insecurities surfaced up, which I had to face. And this summer, even with being sick, I mean, I was run down. My body just like, with COVID, I've lost over 15 pounds. I was like a bag of bones. And there's this guy from my past that even with my past and just my addiction, me and him never crossed that line. And he came back into my life. And I thought, and I know God's voice. But I truly believe, I mean, other people might have other opinions or whatever, but this is what I got out of that lesson. So COVID has given me lessons and blessings all at the same time. If I didn't unlearn what I know about sex, marriage, men, and relationships, I wouldn't even be here talking to you about this today. And I can't believe I actually have to talk about it. But anyways, I spent, I was feeling a little bit better, but not really. I was very fatigued and weak and frail. And I spent time with this man, and we're getting really close, like closer than we ever have been. And because I did have my walls down, but I was keeping my heart guarded, because the things that I learned from the Bible were engraved in my heart. And the things that I unlearned about sex and culture and just society, and what I learned by my experience in the past, that, you know what, I am delivered from that. Because this man, I've always, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how hard it was. He didn't pressure me or anything. Something came up about sex, because he knew who I was before Christ. And we can preach about being celibate or abstinent. First of all, you have to know the difference between being abstinent and celibate, there is a huge difference. But you have to unlearn that. You have to unlearn, like, why God made sex, why porn exists, why sex was invented. You have to know all that. And you have to plug into a divine power that brings that out in you. And you know that you are enough. But anyways, he said something came up. It just came up naturally. And this is nobody new. I've known this man for like 8 years. And something came up about sex, of course, you know. And I said, I don't know. I haven't in 5 years. And he was just like, 5 years? And then he automatically was like, well, I'm having sex. And I was just like, well, good for you. You know? But he never once asked me, like, why or anything. But I think a lot of it is because he already knew. He already knew. And there was one thing that he did say, and it cut me like a knife. He said, man, you're basically a born-again virgin. And those words have haunted me until today. And after I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I am. And there's nothing to be ashamed about. I don't feel guilty about it. I'm not ashamed. And I'm glad that I unlearned those self-destructive things. And I'm so grateful and blessed that situation happened during that class when 5 years ago, when I took that class, because it prepared me for that moment. And I don't feel bad for not hooking up with him, because it all happened for a purpose and a reason. And for the longest time, for the last few months, I felt bad about myself. I felt like I wasn't enough, you know, to be chosen. Like, you have to have sex with me to feel that I love you. No. There's other ways to know that someone loves you unconditionally. And like around this time last year, I was asked, like, what do I look in a man? And I don't expect him to be doing the same thing, but I would appreciate if he accepted what I had to unlearn about myself. and gain the confidence I have in myself and the love I have for myself. That I'm more than a body. But that might not be the case. And I had to unlearn that too. That not to take things personally. And it's hard, especially when you have to unlearn why people do the things that they do. And that's the whole key of self-sabotage. I had to learn why I do it. And the reason why I do it is because I always thought I was just a body. Just a body. And that's not true. I had to unlearn that in that class. And I truly believe God does send you people for lessons and blessings. All in one. But it's up to you to have the mindset and the mastermind to appreciate that lesson. So I hope this has blessed someone today. Just today or this week, just think of things that you do self-sabotage yourself with. And it's not the other person. I could easily blame that guy or even the guy that showed up in the class. But I actually thank God for both of them, because I've learned so much about myself, and it did trigger a self-destructive behavior. And with COVID, I've had to learn that even finding good things to replace the bad habits and stuff, or the self-destructive things in me, will never fill that void. Even the positive things. But to keep on unlearning the bad, and just indulge your mind with positive things and stuff that makes you feel good. Not what the church makes you feel good, or your kids, or a man or a woman. But take it into consideration, the seeds that they have planted. And it's your choice to what to water. And I hope you get enriched in your mind and enjoy and always be teachable, and learn to find things within yourself. And I know I'm enough. And I'm more than enough. I don't have to text, call, and pursue a man anymore. Because sooner or later, I'm going to know. I'm going to know, and God's going to send them to me. And that's why I choose to wait. God bless you guys.